don't know. You can check on your device and see what the connection like.
Go on Facebook, you know?
Mm.
Go to your thing.
Yeah, you should see the live pop up. Yeah? Okay. Good. It's just the ad.
After I saw you then, after I did the first live, just saw like when you cut out, I do like a story.
No, that on my story.
Oh. No, well, watch it live.
That's the live there?
Yeah, from before. And right after when
Yeah, because I have that on my story.
Okay, understood.
I just hope that the connection is good. Let me see. Watch live video. Okay, yeah. It is connected. Good. Yeah. Yeah, you can leave it open. You can leave it open. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hair Talks. I hope all is well. It's always a pleasure to be here with you tonight. So tonight we are talking about boundaries as it relates to friendships with the opposite sex when you are in a relationship, marriage. What does that look like? How do we navigate friendships on a whole when we are in a relationship? Be it friends that we had in the past that we are bringing into this relationship, whether it be new friends, church friends, work friends. How do we treat with that? And how does that look for us? And in terms of our spouses and how they might feel about particular friendships, how do we navigate that? So we're going to be delving into that topic tonight, and tonight I'm going to have some help. As per usual, I do not have all the answers, and I love getting a male perspective at times. So tonight I have a guest, and also my girl Kalaji might be jumping on at some point as well. Yeah, so we're going to get into that in a minute. I just want to say I had a bit of a challenge last week into this week with some other orders for the hair products. Friday I am going to be doing delivery, so those of you who reached out to me who haven't gotten to us yet, feel free to message me again. Let me know what you needed. I'm going to be doing some deliveries on Friday. My personal vehicle is down, but I'm going to be doing deliveries on Friday, so feel free to reach out to me and give me a gentle reminder. Yeah, so Hair Talks, we are here, we are live. I don't think I want to do anything with my hair tonight. I've just been rocking this through. I don't know. At some point during the program, I might just hydrate with some water, just pure water and some oil, and put it into my famous fro puff. And yeah, that that is going to be it. So for those of you who would be watching the program in real time, feel free to comment, ask questions. And even those of you who would be watching the recorded version, I'm always happy to get feedback, your thoughts. Feel free to share as well. So I'm bringing my guests in. Now, you'll have to bear with me. I don't have the professional setup yet. I don't have the professional setup. So tonight I invite Ruben to join me.
Pleasant night, folks.
Yes. The last time he was here, I know he was a bit soft, so I asked him to use the voice when...
Yes, we'll be talking a little much louder tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can hear.
The voice when he greeting the brethren and where's he soon? Hopefully we will get that kind of voice tonight.
Definitely.
So, we're going to jump in. As you heard me say, we'll be talking about navigating friendships of the opposite sex. Specifically as it relates to a marriage relationship. How do we navigate that? How do we set boundaries? We could even delve into some of the challenges that people might face. Some of the pushbacks that you do get when you try to create boundaries. So yeah, we just went on debunk some stuff.
Sounds good.
Right, so my first question to you is, if you're in a relationship, do you think that as a male, it's appropriate for you to have a female as a best friend? Because I think that's one of the major questions people ask. Is it okay as a male for you to have a best friend who is female? And would it be okay for me as a woman to have a best friend who is a male and I'm in a relationship?
What is the definition of best friend?
Definition of best friends, we know what best friends are. The person you confide in, you share all your secrets with, everything that happened, you call them first to let them know. Even if things are going on in your relationship, usually the best friend is the one who would know. So you're having problems, the best friend knows about the problems. So I'm in a relationship, I'm having a problem with my significant other, and I'm calling my male best friend to talk about my guy.
That's a no-no.
Why?
Off the bat. Because again, I don't think it's comfortable for anyone. I think off the bat, it would be something that is uncomfortable. At least it should be. Because if you're with someone, that person ultimately is supposed to be the person that you go to with everything that you have to discuss as far as it relates to problems and that kind of stuff. And then even as you said, even if it's a problem within the relationship, I don't think the male best friend is the best person to go to. I don't think that's wise. I don't think that's wise.
So I hear you say the male best friend, but what about the males who have the female best friends?
And the same thing applies. The same thing should apply, right? The same thing definitely applies.
Because we always set different standards. So
no, I agree.
Males and females.
I agree. But the same thing applies.
Because what are the dangers of that? What you see as being the dangers of having a best friend of the opposite sex while being in a relationship? And this person knowing everything about you, even concerning your relationship. What you think are some of the
for one, it says something about the person that is doing that. It says that in my view, it says that the respect factor is in there, or at least the understanding of the respect factor is in there. If you talk about the dangers, there are dangers in that the other person that you're supposedly speaking to of the opposite sex can use things against the relationship. because they have information that nobody else has.
Yeah.
And then if you're calling this person a best friend, that means there's a close connected relationship already outside of your personal relationship, and this person can use that sensitive information to sabotage your relationship, right? And that's a heavy danger factor. Now you, the person who is doing that, may not see that, which is most of the time that is what happens.
Yeah.
Right? They don't see it as your best friend kind of thing, so to speak. But that becomes dangerous.
Because what I've seen in the past, heard of experience, is usually your partner might be saying, like, I don't view this person in that light. I don't view them in a sexual light. You know, if I wanted to be with them, I'd have been with them already. We have never kissed. We have never done this. Right. But sometimes you find they may not have an attraction to the person, or even view the person in that light. But sometimes the person themselves, the other party, is there lying in wait. Waiting for that. Because a lot of people play that patience game, they're waiting for the opportunity. All right, she crying, he is crying over something the partner is doing. I will be the one to console. And then too, you are telling them what you need, you are telling them what you require. Precisely. So they're in a position to do give that. All those things in the hope that you would look their way. You know? So I have realized, like, the danger in that. So let's talk about friendships. So people get together, a couple get together, and they are friends from the past. And either party might find your friends, or if your friends don't have respect in terms of the opposite sex. So the male might find his girlfriend, male friends, they not respectful. Hi Shaki, good night, love. They're not respectful, you know. When they see her with you, they might come up to her and hug her inappropriately, but in the back of their mind, like, that's my friend before you. You are to cool it. And you hear people say that.
You do hear that.
On either side.
Yes.
For me, I've noticed that it's more so women that do that, which is mind-blowing for me, because most women don't like that for themselves, but you usually find
that's true.
Most females doing that. They have a male friend, and the friend getting into a relationship, and they're trying to prove to the man, girlfriend or wife, like, here's what I know him before you, so I'm entitled. I could call him when I want, I could do this, I could see him, I could hug him up, I could kiss him. You're not supposed to coast, so to speak. So how you treating with that situation coming into a relationship? How we treat them with boundaries, with friends, like that.
And that's the key word, boundaries. I think respectfully, number one, it really should not be a discussion if someone is saying, you know what, committively, I am committing myself to this person. Off the bat, it really should not be a discussion, but it is a discussion because it happens. Right? And sometimes naively people think, well, okay, it's not a scene, it's not anything like that, and that's why we're discussing this, I guess. But so initially there should be boundaries, and there should be mutual discussions where the other person expresses, you know what, I have observed this, you know, because that person may not have observed what they are doing. Again, it could be naive. So that level of discussion is important, right? Where, you know, that person can say, look, you know what, I have recognized this. We need to put boundaries in place and so on. You know, what those boundaries are, it depends and vary, because if for first again, as we were saying before, you can't the best friend concept to me, from an opposite sex, and you're saying you're calling this person, and there's your quote unquote bestie. At the end of the day, the person you are with is supposed to be that. And it's difficult to understand why somebody else is going to actually replace the person that you're with. Although it happens.
And I mean, hearing you say it, that sounds like in a perfect scenario.
Yeah, but that's
what it should be.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen.
But 9 out of 10 times in a relationship, you're trying to set boundaries in terms of these friendships that your partner would have come into the relationship with. And most times they get a pushback like, you real jealous.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know them so long, you just jealous, you don't want me to talk to nobody, you're trying to control. And I think that is one of the main things they hear. Both from men and women, it's like, you're trying to control me, you want to tell me who to talk to, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so from that point of view, how you're really going to, does it make sense to pursue a relationship with somebody like that who doesn't have that maturity and understanding to know that the partner mental, emotional well-being comes first?
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the key question. Is it worth pursuing? Because for me, if someone has to ask or even has to say, you know, or doesn't see the factor of, look, this is an issue, it sells off as immature, right?
Okay.
It does, off the bat, because it is immature for me not to understand something that is, in my view, so simple, which is, if I am with someone, they are supposed to be the individual that I confide in, that I speak my problems to, etc., right? And I don't go looking for someone else to do that, whether they existed before or not.
Yeah.
Right? And even if I get into a relationship and there is a quote-unquote bestie, right, that is of the opposite sex, and I am now getting into this relationship, I am supposed to make the decision. The other party shouldn't even have to come to me and say, look, you know what, you need to set these boundaries. I'm supposed to see that. That's maturity.
Yeah.
That's me seeing that before you have to say anything. That the need is there for me to have to set boundaries with the other person and say, listen, I'm now in a relationship and you can't just come in as we were.
Yeah.
That is maturity. I don't think you should even have that discussion, but we're having it anyway because it exists, right? But yeah.
Alright, so
it's no, you don't pursue it. In my view, that's a key factor. If it keeps repeating itself, we pursue it.
So guys, we're talking friendships with the opposite sex while in relationships and boundaries. So we were talking about friendships when you're bringing a friend. You're bringing friends into your new relationship. So you come with friends, he comes with friends, or she comes with friends. How we navigate that? No, they're different environments where we have different challenges. So for like one church,
right,
we know how that does go.
Right.
So we in church, we amongst brothers, and you see my quotations.
Yeah,
brothers and sisters.
Right. Facts.
And we amongst brothers and sisters. We in a relationship. The brothers and sisters knows that you're in a relationship. But then they come to you under the guise of brotherly and sisterly love, inviting you to this, inviting you to that, not really acknowledging your partner or your spouse, want to hug you with the so-called love of the Lord. And so, and because I've seen it before, you know, and I mean, it's a serious issue that people have to deal with, and some people feel like they can't address it because if they talk about it, it will seem like they don't understand the love of God and the nature of God, and they would say, like, you know, you're supposed to demonstrate that kind of love between your brother and your sister for everybody.
Yeah.
How do you set boundaries in that setting without offending?
Right. Here's the thing. Here's my answer. Really, first, to begin, you set it. You understand? Not even how you set it, but for argument's sake and discussion, and as you mentioned, the church, right?
Yeah.
And so we just jump 2 steps into the Bible for a second.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nowhere when God made Adam and when God made Eve for Adam, it was Eve, Janet, and Jane, and Joyce.
Yeah.
Get that clear? So that was a clear marker that, and it goes across the board. It even says that. We come to that. But it goes across the board. The relationship between a man and a woman only is supposed to have and was supposed to have one additional party, and that one additional party is gone.
Yeah.
There was no space given to anybody else whatsoever. So if even it brings offense to someone, that doesn't have anything to do with God. Let it bring offense. That is what it is, because the relationship only is exclusive for two people.
Okay.
Period.
Period.
Yeah, period.
So if your spouse, you bring it, okay, you see a particular issue, you find Sister Mel coming and only hugging your husband, or you intended every Sunday, they're not paying you any attention.
Right.
They're not saying hi to you like Casper.
Right.
But they're very friendly with your spouse, or vice versa. Male very friendly with your wife or significant other. You intended, and they bring it to your spouse attention.
Right.
But they're upset because in their mind is brotherly love or sisterly love. They're not seeing it from your point of view. Then.
Well, that's the thing. While you could say it from your point of view, it also is a biblical point of view. And if that person does not check, if they don't put a check to their actions, then they are the ones that needs help, and honestly speaking. Right? Because we could have the discussion from a carnal perspective, and we can have the discussion even from a psychological perspective, a psychotherapeutic experience, and so on. Meaning from a human perspective, but also God is the one who made relationships.
Yeah.
So interjecting the spiritual side of it is important, and if that person doesn't understand, look, this is something that is beyond just my spouse saying that this is needed, and it's also something that God designed it that way, then they are the ones that need help. They need help. Yeah, facts.
Fair enough. Sometimes I wish it was like that simple.
I know it's not that simple. I can understand. I've seen it myself.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish it's really that simple.
It's not.
Because I think a lot of people just don't get it. I don't know if it's a lack of maturity.
It is.
Or
many cases.
Or if at times it's just people being selfish. They want to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I think it's insecurities too. At times. Meaning in the sense of the person who doesn't see that as a problem, they are trying to really get something out of the experience, which really is a feed into some sort of insecurity, right? But that's a deeper discussion, but just on the surface. So sometimes it's that, but ultimately it's just a lack of respect too.
Okay.
You know?
And I'm glad you said that, because for me, I've always noticed that the one who is getting the attention sometimes don't want to deal with the issue because they like the attention that they're receiving. It makes them feel important. Yeah. It's filling some sort of void, and sometimes they play naive. Yeah. Like, I don't really know what's going on, but I love it. Yeah. I love the attention. Correct. It makes me feel good.
Correct. As long as they feel good.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And like I was saying earlier, when should you stay? I think if you are in a relationship, honestly, and there are situations that are genuinely making you feel uncomfortable and it's not being seen as an issue by the other person, then by all means, you skip rope. You skip rope.
Okay.
By all means.
I like that. You skip rope.
Yeah, you skip rope.
My thing is, right, because my thing is, I don't understand when people decide to be in a relationship, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody forced you. Right. You decide to be in a relationship with another person. Very true. And here's your person saying to you that some of these relationships that you have is making me uncomfortable. It's causing me pain. I don't like the direction it's going in. I feel like it is more. It's something more. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be always a romantic scenario where the male has a female friend from the past or present that you feel they want to hook up with, or vice versa, the woman wants to hook up with a male friend. But sometimes just the relationships could come with like this friend is always dependent on you for money, or
Okay.
every time they have a
Okay.
situation,
Okay.
they're calling you, so they get a flat
Okay.
tire. Like you are a male,
Yeah.
and your female friend always calling you. She car breakdown, she calling you,
Yeah.
she calling you home to fix stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not a romantic thing, because
Yeah,
it's something it's something you would have allowed.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Hey, Carla,
I understand.
I wonder if I could bring you on. I'd like you to interject in this. I wonder if I could add you. What the screen would look like. I'm trying to add you. So yeah, so I'm saying it may not always be from a romantic
Hi, good night, Carl.
standpoint.
How are you? Yeah, from a romantic
It might
standpoint.
not
Sorry.
always be from a romantic standpoint.
Please tell me you see me. Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Good
You know,
night, everybody. Good night to Facebook.
trying to see this face. Girl.
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while. But I'm here. So good night, everybody. Good night to your guests.
Hi, good night.
And I was listening to you guys, before jumping on. And my thoughts on it is, when you're in a relationship, we must set boundaries if we're going to have friends of the opposite sex.
Yeah. It's a
We must set boundaries.
yeah. So what I was saying just now, sometimes all the friendships it does not take the form of a romantic nature. So yes,
Mhm.
a man might have a female friend, the female might have a male friend, but it's not that they're interested in each other romantically, but they have become a crutch over the years. So you might have a guy having a female friend who, when everything falls apart in our house, she's calling him. But he's in a relationship now. So before he would have come and help you if your car break down, something wrong home, if you see a rat, cat, whatever, and you're scared, he would have come. But now you can't do that. You can't call him 12 o'clock in the night because you feeling some type of way and you want to talk all night because that person is now in a relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
And I am saying that sometimes when you, as a spouse, so you bring up the issue, but your husband, your wife not seeing it that way, because in their mind, all they seen is like it's not a romantic relationship. And sometimes they feel because it's not a romantic relationship or a physical relationship, it is okay to continue. Because you will hear the argument, but I not on her. Me and she never do nothing. Me and he never do nothing. Look how long I know him, I never even kiss him. But you are a crutch. The person is a crutch
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form. So, like, how do you deal with stuff like that?
What's you guys? I want to get in on the chatter with your male guest. Introduce yourself. I jumped in late, so I just asking your name.
That's quite all right. Ruben or Israel?
All right, nice to meet you. And of course, I am welcoming the male perspective on this.
Yeah.
What if, guys, and I would love for those viewing to tune in, what if the person and you had intimate relations prior to, I don't know if I came in too late, if that question was asked already.
Well, actually, Gil, that's a whole next segment, because I think I want to do a segment on how you deal with exes, like, because we know that's a major problem. So tonight we're doing strictly friendship. You didn't have anything, you're just a friend. You understand? So we'll be
Okay.
looking at friendships, just normal friendships. We're looking at friendships even in the church. Because we were just talking about, in the church, the brotherly love and the sisterly love. Everybody's want to demonstrate. I think Carla is frozen. I see her picture frozen. So we have lost her connection a bit. Yeah. So we are going to into how we deal with exes. I think we could do that next week as well, and as a follow up to this, because that would be so interesting. Because oh my gosh, I think a lot of feelings is going to come out in that episode.
A lot.
Yeah, but for now, we just talking about friendships. So friendships in general, friendships in church, the brothers and the sisters who like to come and hug you, brotherly love, sisterly love. How we navigating that? How we setting boundaries? And I was just about to jump on the word friendship because we know how we like to claim husband, work wife.
Yeah, but even before you say that,
Mm-hmm.
you asked a question, I don't think that we answered it, right?
What's that?
Which
You,
was,
you guys are hearing
Yeah,
me?
we are
yes, we
hearing
are,
you.
we are.
All right, but I'm not seeing the pictures, so I don't know if it's
Right.
Your
my
picture, your picture is post.
provider
Your picture is post, so we hearing you.
We are hearing you.
or the pictures pause.
Yeah,
Okay.
But we
yes.
hearing you. That we could go ahead and chat. We hearing you clear.
Um,
Well, personally, guys, I've encountered, and these have been my encounters. Some ladies, and maybe some men as well.
mhm.
Um, when you're given the brotherly and sisterly look, is there? Sometimes you might tend to offend the spouse because sometimes the body language might be a bit off. Um, how do we navigate through that?
Well, I
What
think
are your thoughts on that?
what we were saying, what I was mentioning earlier on, Carla, is that I think even asking it like that is a bit deep because why? Um, it's something that you cannot really take away from the church experience, but it is really the responsibility of the spouse themselves and both spouses at that matter to understand. Look, as you were saying earlier on, boundaries must be set, and sometimes I don't think even boundaries need to be set in a discussion. That's where I was dealing with the factor of maturity. Because if I'm mature enough,
Mm,
you don't need to have that discussion with me, to be honest, right? I'm supposed to know the person that I'm with to the degree that I know, okay, if Sister Jane comes up to me and hugs me in a certain way, my wife, because I know her, right? Or even not just knowing my wife, but even knowing the female on the whole as a man, right? It's uncomfortable.
So I wouldn't, as a man, even entertain that. I would be very cautious unless I know my wife is a bit comfortable with me hugging someone or that kind of thing. But it could get queer sometimes. And in that queerness, I think it's my responsibility and I think it's the spouse's responsibility to understand, look, here what? If I have to say something, I'm going to say that. There is no hiding from the fact that it is an existing fact and I need to protect the relationship that I'm in. Right? I think that is where it stands. So navigating through that is the responsibility of the spouse, being mature enough to take the steps necessary to secure that relationship that they are in that they call sacred.
Well said. Sadly, though, a lot of people do take the higher ground.
Correct.
I don't know why
We
people.
lost Carla.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if she might come back on. I'm seeing her to the top there. I'm not seeing her in the chat either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we we can have these discussions at length.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that people ultimately know what they're supposed to do. They ultimately, because I think
To
we
a
it have
large
so
degree,
much
to a large degree, yes. In a case
because
like
of
that, I would say
technology.
that too.
You get relationship advice on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, every medium possible, and not just advice with, okay, we are not professionals, not just advice with, just people sharing based on their experiences, but you have people who studied for this and they
Correct.
give similar advice.
Correct.
So it's not, I don't feel as that people don't know, but I just feel like some people just choose
Yeah.
not
and
to.
that's and that's what I'm saying, and that's what shows the respect factor
Yeah.
in the relationship, whether or not your spouse respects you enough, and that is maturity. Because, again, for someone to think like that on that level, you really have to be mature,
Yeah.
right? And if they are thinking opposite to that, it should show a signal to you, the individual, whether it be male or female, that here what now, this person is not really ready to
Yeah.
go into a further relationship with, because it's not something they see as an issue, right? And it might be small, but it's really not small, because, like we were saying earlier on, the relationship was designed by God for two occupants.
Yeah.
The only other occupant in that relationship is God. That's just what it is.
Point taken.
Yeah.
So we're going into the workplace now.
Right.
So within recent years, I realize there's a trend where when there's work events, we no longer inviting spouses. That's a
And
new
you
trend, right?
rightfully say it. It's a trend. It's a trend.
And it's for a number of reasons. One, they have people who have relationships with people on their job. Two, just the level of flirting and that kind of thing it has caused problems in people's marriages in the past.
Yeah.
So I think all around bosses think it easier, just we're going to have an event, it's just staff. Right? Another thought just came to mind that is a segue to what we're talking about.
Right.
So as a spouse, your wife get invited to her work event, a work dinner,
Right.
or something like that. And then she's saying to you, company policy is you cannot come. um, how would you how would you feel about
Why
that?
I can't come?
Is the company policy. Not the spouse policy, it's the company policy that you
Right.
can't come.
Well, I will make sure it's the company policy first for the day. That's the first thing.
No, but
Yeah,
if you
but
realize
they
it is
may.
the company policy,
Mm-hmm.
would you feel slighted if your spouse still proceeds to go to the event
No, I won't.
without you?
No, I won't, because that's a different subject
That's a
matter
different
entirely,
subject. Okay.
But no, I won't, That's if it's that is that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just came to mind because
Yeah,
I know that too has caused contention
Mm-hmm.
in relationships and marriage at large.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is work friendships. So you have a spouse, your significant other,
Right.
obviously where they're working, they would have friends and stuff. Um, do you think it is important that at some point in a relationship that you be exposed to some of these work friends? Um, Especially, okay, here wife keep talking about
Right, that's what I
um
was just about to say.
Nigel.
That's what I was just about to say.
Nigel, if you ever call him, your name is just is my co-worker, eh? Ria. I just use Nigel because we share office. So I share office with a male.
Right,
So obviously I might be talking Nigel, because that's who I share office with.
right.
Um and I have a spouse. And they
Mm-hmm.
keep hearing me talking about Nigel. And they feel some type of way. Because one, they've never seen this person. Two, I'm always talking about this person. So if my spouse says to me, who is this person? I find you always talking about them. Right? How do you navigate that circumstance? Because it's a different type of friendship, but in a
Yeah,
work
yeah,
environment.
yeah. And
And
it's
it's somewhere you have to go because you
that's
have
the
to earn
point. That's
money.
what I was about to say.
And
It's not
I
everyday
know I know it
scenario.
has gotten to points where some people demand that you leave a
Mm-hmm.
particular job
Mm-hmm.
to go to the next job, but you will still make friends anyway.
That's the next. That's what I was also about
So,
to say with that. And first thing was just
what
as
Carla say, what if they can't come, I not going. And I feel it should be the same company policy to not bring a spouse. Sometimes it's an excuse. But sometimes they're being cheap too. They don't want to have to cover that
the
cost.
double cost. You
Carla, I'm
know.
trying to see if I can bring it back on. I don't even know how to do this. Carla, you can see if you can send me a thing to add you and I'll add you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how you
But
navigating that friendship in the
right.
workspace
I think
if your spouse feels threatened?
that's the first thing he was saying. If I recognize behavioral changes, because I think that's the first thing I was asking, right?
But not
Um,
not necessarily behavioral. They might just mention the person a lot.
a lot, but that's another thing,
Yeah.
right? But and if I were to answer from the perspective of what would make me want to say, well, okay, I want to see where the environment,
Yeah.
right, would be one, if I recognize behavioral changes, um, that that in some cases or in a case jeopardizes or I feel that threatens the relationship, right? Because as you're saying, it doesn't have to be intimate, right? But sometimes friendships tend to go over
Yeah.
their transferences, and that person comes home with behavioral things
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with them. That's not their personality. They brought that from work. They brought that from their company and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that would prompt me to say, well, okay, you know what, introduce me to your friends. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, with what you ask in terms of how I would navigate
Somebody
that.
saying they're not hearing you.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Use use the
I'm sorry.
use the black
How
voice.
I would how I would navigate through the um the whole office scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the truth be told, again, honestly, it's discussion in my view because I do think I should be the one to try to navigate through that. I think it should be something that I bring to the attention of my spouse,
Mm-hmm.
and then they are willing to say, well, okay, I understand what you are saying, and they are willing also to give reassurances
Mm-hmm.
that there isn't anything, whatever those reassurances might be,
Mm-hmm.
and then further, that kind of thing. But if after they do that and I am still having an issue, then perhaps you need to look into areas of
Mm-hmm.
insecurity or so on. But once there's genuinely a situation where this person, because coming from where we were initially discussing,
Mm-hmm.
there's genuinely a relationship with this person, whether it be a friend or not,
Yeah.
and it's a friend at work, and again, so that's why I said if I see behavioral changes, so it's a friend at work and I am they have they're always talking about this person,
Yeah.
right? I would have to ask some questions, there's nothing wrong with talking with some about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about the person to the point where you're not hearing anything I have to
You
say,
have to.
right?
Yeah.
You're not hearing anything I have to say,
Mm-hmm.
or you're talking about the person more than you're even talking about me,
Be-
then there is a behavioral change,
I'm
and
laughing
I am
because
going to
right.
be,
I'm laughing because I had an experience
yeah,
where you're talking to this person, you're giving advice,
right,
from a relationship aspect,
right,
right? But all this person is telling you, so and work told me. And whatever
right,
so and work told them,
right.
it comes like gospel.
Right, it comes at the first
It
thing.
overrides you who are in
Well,
the
then go and
relationship
be
with
with
them.
so and work.
You know? So,
Because no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It comes right back
uh,
to immaturity and maturity. Because you cannot be mature and not understand that you are speaking to your spouse. You are speaking to the person that you are in a relationship with.
mm-hmm,
And then 90% of that discussion is about somebody on work
yeah.
and what somebody on work says. That's crazy.
So,
Let me
guys,
tell
for
you,
those
crazy.
of you who just came on,
It's
we are
crazy.
talking
It's
about
crazy stuff.
navigating
Yeah,
friendships while in a
it's
relationship.
crazy.
Whether it be friends that you brought into the relationship, friends that you came with, we're talking friendships even in terms of the church dynamics, and friendships on your workplace.
Yeah,
Right? So we trying to debunk that and boundaries. Um and one of the key things that keep coming up is basically being mature enough when you're in a relationship to the extent that you know what is right and do the right thing. I don't think it should always be a case where your significant other have to be telling you, this not looking good,
very
that
correct.
not looking good. I mean, there might have to be rare occasions where somebody is doing something and you're really
And they
not
don't know,
picking
and
it
they
up,
don't.
you're not
Yeah,
seeing
yeah,
it. And I think most times in cases like that, it's mostly women who pick up other women's behaviors.
yeah,
Because, I mean, as a woman, sisters, don't you know how we could be. We could be very sneaky and put off things like, no, that's just my brother. They come and say, that's my brother,
yeah. It's my brother in the
That's my
Lord.
brother. That's my brother in the Lord. I love him real bad. That's
Yeah,
my real
yeah,
brother.
yeah,
Or even friends from before, long ways friends. We like brother and sister. And,
yeah.
we good. Nothing ever happened between us. But secretly in their heart, they want the person. Women
And
more
that's a
prone
thing.
for that.
And that's a thing. In my view, and again dealing with, you should never be in a relationship with a secondary thought. That's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it happens. It does happen, but this is the bottom line, in my view, and also in a biblical view. You should never be in a relationship with a secondary thought. Then what are you doing in that relationship? You cannot build anything in that. You can't, right? And that was also that. took me back to something you asked earlier. I can't remember the question, but I wanted to say this. You see what happens with secondary friendships in relationships is that it takes away from a specific dynamic that you are supposed to be experiencing with your spouse.
Yeah.
And that is one of the key things you have to understand. If you hold a secondary friendship, this is your bestie. Now, your spouse is not your bestie, you have a bestie. What that bestie is actually doing is taking away from a dynamic that you are supposed to be experiencing with your spouse.
Yeah.
So, in other words, your relationship cannot grow in certain areas. It will never grow in certain areas.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Carla is saying that she has to be on the next episode. So next week, guys, we're going to be talking about exes. When you're in a relationship, how you treat with exes. Good night to Miss Harry Lal. I think this is the first time I'm seeing her on. Good night and welcome. Yeah, so we talking about friendships, how we deal with friendships in relationship, how we set boundaries. I mean, for me, my thing is for 2024 that we really try to get it together and do this thing right. I mean, I do not perceive to be an expert in no way, but I am just going off of life experiences. I think I've lived long enough and I've experienced so much. I mean, I'm 45, people might say I'm still young, but I've experienced a lot in the 45 years on this earth. And I think I've gotten a good understanding of people and how they think and the things they do and why they do them. And I think we just have to be intentional in relationships. We have to be intentional to just be good. Oh
To do the
gosh,
right
do
thing.
the right thing
Do
now.
the right thing. Know what is the right thing and do the right thing.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
my thing is that I always try to put for myself, if I am going to do something and I know that if that person does it to me, I am not going to like it, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
To me, that's a clear indication that I shouldn't do
That
it.
is and that's exactly it. That's what the scripture says. Do unto others as you
You
have them do
understand?
unto yourself.
And
Yeah.
even in that case, it have people who will play these mind games with you because you say sometimes you would say, if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't be thinking or feeling that when they'll be like, I don't care,
Yeah.
that wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know. Good night, Derek. What's up? You understand? Hi, Samantha. It's been a minute. Um, and who is that? Petula. Hi, Petula. Welcome, welcome. So my thing is, if you know
Yeah.
if you know, without a shadow of a doubt, if your spouse did the same thing you are doing right now in secret,
Yeah.
and they find out, and it's going to hurt you to your core, why are you doing it? Like, why? It
Facts.
makes no sense.
Facts.
And the thing is, it's big people doing these things, adults. It is mind blowing. And I know, like when we were having a conversation the other day, I said, sometimes we want to expect ourselves from people. We want to expect people to react the same way we would react to certain things. And I know that is not going to happen
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
But for me in a relationship, what I should expect is the same common human decency, same morals, values, just the human element
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might not agree on everything, but
Facts.
just decency,
Facts.
just the same honesty I want,
Facts.
give it.
Yeah. Facts.
That's all
Yeah.
it
Facts.
takes. It's not rocket science.
But the thing with that is and that is what answers the question, is not everyone is really prepared and ready to be in a relationship, yet they are. You see? And that's the thing. Unfortunately, there are a number of persons that aren't prepared to be in a relationship, that should not be in a relationship, but they are in a relationship because of biology.
Yeah,
You understand? Because they're old enough to be in a
relationship.
relationship, because there's biological needs that is being met. But that's the only reason why they are in a relationship. It's not that they're supposed to be or they ought to be. And that's unfortunate.
I just don't get it. I mean, for me, as I said in one of the previous episodes, we just had to be so mindful, look out for red flags. I know sometimes red flags are hard to detect because we have some good actors out here.
Facts.
Just the other day, I came across a new term that they call breadcrumbing.
Okay, what's that?
Breadcrumbing is when somebody's in a relationship and they're doing everything on point. So everything that you would need, they're doing it. And
Okay.
most times that comes from we would have fed them all the information. So in the
Okay.
early stages when they start to talk,
Right.
well, I like this, I like that.
Okay.
My ex hurt me like this. My ex did
Right.
this.
Right.
So we give them all the ammunition
Right. So they're doing
needed.
everything
So they
right.
come prepared.
Okay.
So they give us what we need in the earlies to
Right.
hook us.
Right.
And then when you hook,
Right.
then you see the true nature of the beast. And a lot of men and women do that. They put
Excuse me.
forward a good image in the earlies to get what they want
But I mean,
essentially.
I think that's history. I think that's human nature on the whole. I don't think that's necessarily new, where we put out our best,
Yeah.
right? But what I think is important, even in this topic, is even from an overall perspective that you need to know what you ought to be looking for. A lot of persons in relationships, it's only when the situation becomes dire,
Yeah.
then they figure out, okay, you know what, that is what I was supposed to be looking out for, or that is what I was, So beforehand, I need to know what I need to be, not what I want to be looking for,
Yeah.
what I need to be looking for.
Yeah.
And that truly could only come from the one that created relationships in the first place, right?
I don't know. I just want to throw something out there. My thing is, we have to learn to manage friendships on a whole, right? And I don't think that you have to wait until you're in a relationship to now be saying to grown people who are your friends, this is not acceptable, this is not acceptable, you cannot do this, you
Yeah,
cannot do that.
yeah,
Because as I was sharing with you earlier before the show, I have literally set boundaries even from friendships
before.
beforehand.
Mm-hmm,
So yes, I have male friends,
mm-hmm,
friends who I went to school with,
mm-hmm.
friends from church, from church from when I was a child coming up the
Right,
ranks.
right,
But I have set boundaries in advance. So I don't do phone calls past a certain hour.
right,
You understand?
right,
We not talking every day.
right,
If I see you, I hail you up. If it's an emergency, if it's sickness, I there.
right.
Is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not setting myself up in a way where I am dependent on you or you dependent on me to that extent that when I get into a relationship now, I know how to be telling you, hey, dude, you can't call me 9 o'clock, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know saying, but I used to call you all the time, 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
That man is at him, what he digging horrors. Because
excuse me.
you know how the talk does go.
Exactly.
That man insecure, what he digging horrors. Said, but
Yeah,
look how
yeah,
long with his
yeah,
friends. No,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah.
No, sir. So what I do, and I'm putting it out there to you all, have boundaries in place even with your friends from
Beforehand.
before. So when you get into a relationship, you don't have to deal with all that drama. Because I have some friends who just don't know their place.
Yeah.
And I go some males and females, and a lot of the times you more so get from females because they want to prove a point. We always saying that women are our own worst enemy for a woman, and it is true. So you will find a female friend calling him all hours and want to say, girl,
Mm-hmm.
I was there first and I know you so long. And when they see you in public, they're watching your cut eye, they're skinning up their face. No, set boundaries in advance. And I think it would alleviate half of the nonsense that we have to go through in friendships. Even in work, have boundaries. So that when your spouse come in the office, you don't have to be feeling awkward because you're having inappropriate conversation with your male or female co-workers that you're not supposed to be having because you're not in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I have seen it where people's spouses come in the office and it weird, it awkward
Mm-hmm.
because of the conversations and there's a totally different person in front of the spouse. When the spouse they can't even talk, you're wondering if it's the same person. You understand? And the same goes for church. Don't call me, brother, whoever, don't call me to tell me you want no prayer. 10 o'clock in the night. Sorry, I can't help you. At that time, Jesus alone could help you.
Facts.
We need to set
Yeah.
boundaries. And so much so in the Christian community, especially for my sisters, we pray mantis and we holding on to the hem of Jesus garment, we always there and we feel we could pray everybody through and yes, I be praying with him in the night, no sis. time and place.
Mm-hmm.
Play it in the prayer chat, the group chat. We go pray in the group chat. Don't call me 10 o'clock in the night.
Mm-hmm.
I know heroes. Some of us want to put our hands in the lion mouth and say, God go protect me. Foolishness.
Facts.
Rubbish. Set boundaries. And set it early so you don't have the problems in the back end.
Yeah, I agree.
So
That's safe.
yeah, that was just the main focus of tonight. Boundaries and friendships.
Yeah, it's needed.
It is needed. While before you get into the relationship, it's better to start it before.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get in, you don't have all that back and forth, and your spouse got to be crying and complaining, and
Facts.
you understand. And all of us who like to hold on to these friends and like them a friend. No, you
Yeah,
married to your friend.
yeah,
When you homesick in the night, your friend come in and see about you. Let me be real.
yeah.
How much of us in the past have been sick and the same friends who you love, love, love like dove? They know where to be found
Facts, yeah.
in a time of
Perfect
need.
facts, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Perfect
your
facts.
spouse should be first.
Number one.
Yeah?
Totally number one. I just want to hammer home that fact in
Yeah.
that what really needs to be understood in addition and in cohesiveness is that at the end of the day, God never made the relationship to be occupied by three and four persons. It was never designed like that by God. It was designed for the man and the woman, husband and wife, the person you're in a relationship with, and God. That's the only other thing. If God could literally say to you, leave your mother and your father, who are the closest thing to you outside of Him, leave them and cleave to that person, it says it all. There's no room for a third party, literally. Never did. Not supposed to.
Yeah. Some of us want to hold on to that friend because I know them since we in kindergarten. And sometimes the friends suck in the life out of relationship because they're asking you to do all kind of thing contrary.
Yeah,
Come let we go out now, come let we do this.
yeah.
They want you to behave
Facts.
like you're still single. No,
Yeah, it's not that.
no. That can't happen. So my advice, set boundaries. Even before you get into a relationship, it makes it easier moving forward. And even if you're in a relationship right now and your spouse is saying to you, I'm not comfortable with some of these friendships, I'm uncomfortable, find a way to resolve it. Yes, I know there are the cases where somebody could be overbearing, like they're just real insecure and they could talk to aunts and they upset.
Yeah,
But to me, that's not the majority. That's like a real small number. So don't be so quick to tell somebody they're jealous, they're jealous, they're jealous. Let's
yeah.
let's
Check
let's be real.
check and see
Check
if
it.
it's
Check
real.
yourself.
Yeah,
Check
check and
yourself.
see if it's real.
Watch the situation
Yeah,
and give it the attention that it deserves.
facts.
Yeah. So it was so nice being on with you guys tonight. Look out next week. We are talking about how do we treat with exes, which is a big one. Ooh. Right, so we're going to be talking about that next week. Before you all go, I want to invite you all to a night of worship. It's on the 30th of May. It's called First Fruit. It's going to be in Gasparilla at Christian Sanctuary. It's going to start at 7 p.m. It's free and it's just a night of worship. It's not a concert, it's just worship. So I'm going to invite you all. I'm inviting you all to come out and be a part of that. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to put the link to the page in the comments. So you could go follow the page to get more information and be updated. All right, we are going to be there. It's going to be an awesome time in the presence of the Lord. Yes, so thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the comments and the feedback. So you all know I'm still navigating this whole reading and talking. So good night, Lou. Good night, Roslyn. I see where's this? Is Jordan is I can't pronounce the first name. I see Adana. Hi Adana. Long time no see. Thank you all so much, Leslie Ann. It's always a pleasure having you. And Carla G, for sure, you're going to be on next week when we do That's how we treat with X because you're coming from the place I'm coming from, so we'll have some experience with that. Yeah. So good night, guys. Be blessed, be safe. Thank you so much for being on, Ruben. It's always fun. Yeah. So good night.